While we're waiting, I think in my email, I'm neglected to include the link, huh?
I found this Zoom,
Cool.
so that worked.
So I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to get on. I'm gonna ask Fred to resend it. So while we're doing that, did you have an open house this weekend, young lady? Heather. Froze. Uh-oh, our guest froze. So Michael, how many at your open house? You had like 40?
Yeah, like 40 between Saturday and Sunday.
Very good.
It was pretty good for a rainy weekend.
Let me give it a second for Heather to get back on here. Just one moment, we'll be right. All right, so Fred's sending that out. Heather, are you back? Hurricane, are you back? All right, we'll start without Heather, and I'm going to hold off. I have a big announcement for Florida, but I want more people to be on. And while we're waiting for Heather to get her connection restarted, I'm going to talk about a couple of. Oh, okay, you're back. Fantastic. So, just out of curiosity, did you do an open house this past week?
This was the one weekend that I did not, because all my listings, as soon as I have them, that first open house, right when that's done, I'll get under contract that week. So this was one I did not. I did have actually one of my rental listings, however, that I had a newer agent do for me. But actually I was dealing with a whole bunch of last minute things for a closing that's happening in about an hour. So that's how I spent that day. I would have had an open house and showings and everything else.
So how many transactions do you think that you initiated from open houses in the past, let's say 12 months?
At least 30.
You think you initiated 30 transactions and
at least.
And you have 3.
Meaning rentals, buying, listings, buyers, at least.
And did you mention when we spoke the other day that one of your closings this week is from an open house?
2 of them are actually. Oh no, yes, one of them is, yes.
So
I didn't mention anything yet because, oh, you mean when we spoke? Yes, that is correct.
So
the closing I have on Thursday is from the open house from the closing I have today. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
and that rental that I was talking about, that rental I was
whole long day ahead of myself. I can't do it.
I'm going to mute everybody, so you have to unmute yourself.
That rental
I was just asking.
That rental we were talking about also is from that open house too.
When the kid one came in, I'm like, please don't let it be a fucking pediatric. Because I feel bad for the kid.
Hello?
I gotta mute everybody.
I feel bad for the kid. Bro, really? Really? Not me.
Rob?
Yeah, I gotta make myself, I gotta sign in to make myself the host. Can you?
What food are you gonna bring?
Yeah, if you're
charcuterie board.
All right. All right, go ahead, Heather.
So I was saying also that open house I mentioned that I had an agent from our office this weekend was also from an open house. It was how I found a landlord And I'm
Wow.
having, she has me listing the
Never.
apartment. So
Mhm.
also, so that's 2 right there in one weekend, all from open houses. So 30 is probably on the low side.
What do you bring to an open house
Making you
when you go? Like, what's your process? All right, I muted everybody. You have to unmute yourself, Heather. I think we have technology issues here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we talked about in the pre-call. One of them is putting out signs, and a lot of people put out 4 to 6 signs just so that people who are looking for the open house can find it. One of the practices that one of Heather's colleagues does, and she's starting to adopt, is to put out a lot of signs so that when people go through the neighborhood, they're like, oh my God, that agent has signs all over the place. So it's not just to drive the interested party to the open house, it's to basically advertise your brand. Okay. Second step is we talk about electronic sign-in or manual sign-in. Who on this call has like Open House Pro or uses KV Core for open houses? Anybody want to volunteer versus paper sign-ins?
So I like to have it on the iPad right when they walk in. That way for me, it's easy. I don't forget it. A piece of paper can get lost or wet. And also put it into any program that works for any agent that it helps you follow up faster. Faster you follow up with the people that walked through the house, the easier it is for me to convert.
Do you find that they actually fill it out though?
Yeah.
When you get to sit there and type? I'm always nervous about that.
I try to have a younger agent there who, one of the things they do is just spend time greeting them and introduce them to the program and say, listen, this is for you. I want you to, come and see this home, but please, feel you need to, they make it in a way where you can't come in unless you sign up. You're in a different market. We're in Florida. Everybody's different. So it just depends.
Yeah, no, because I was thinking about going to the technological way, but for me, I was telling Rob yesterday, I'll always double check the number. I'll make sure that they don't leave without, I know that what it says. I haven't converted yet, but the other thing is that you said about someone else, like I make sure I am the face. That was the other thing I thought of that Rob and I didn't talk about is I say Heather the Hurricane and I go to that door every moment. Even sometimes they come in, they're wishy-washy about their agent. More times than not, they're not committed. They'll switch to me because it's me, you know what I mean? But it is nice to have help, like you said, with the technology part.
For me, the help is about tag teaming the couple. Typically, here in Florida, it's a lot of, a husband and wife will come in and Alex will work the man, I'll work the woman, or vice versa. And one of them will sign in for both. And, we'll meet somewhere on the tour together and, find that common ground and start building that rapport right away.
Cool.
So a simple question, Heather, do you lock the door before you let people in? David, do you lock the door and have them ring the bell? How do you handle that?
I always lock the door and I always open the door every time. Again, every market is different.
There's park. Oh, she parked behind me.
What we do in Boca and Del.
David, unmute yourself. I just muted everybody. Some people are coming off.
What we do on the East Coast versus what we do on the West Coast is also very different. Here, we always lock the door and we always open it for every person. I know in certain markets on the East Coast or up north, you guys have 40 people waiting. Typically, we have a couple people walking in at a time, maybe 2 couples at a time, but usually they keep trickling. So yeah, that being able to send one of us to the door and open and put a smile on our face, it makes a big difference. That instant connection can be created from the door.
And Heather, do you lock the door and open it for every client, or how do you handle that?
Unmute, Heather.
Yeah, Heather, you have to unmute yourself.
I totally get what you're saying, and I never thought of it that way. I always do it more. I and I'm very welcoming, and like my door is always open. That's how I present myself. That's just me. I get what you're saying. That's great. But personally, I usually try to have the door open and I run. I listen, like I'm running. So I'm there already. Like, come on in. That's how I welcome them. So it's a little bit different strategy. I never thought of locking and opening. To me, I'm just very welcoming and warm, and like my door is always open.
And Heather, do you have somebody that joins you for the open houses, or do you do them individually, or a lender and another agent? Difficulties here. So while Heather's getting her connection back, I'm going to take the opportunity. David, is Alex on the call? Alexander?
Alex is on the call. Alex Stolier, say hi.
Good morning, guys. Yes, I'm here.
So I wanted to just take this time. We now are servicing both coasts of Florida, east and west. We have our first West Coast agents, the David Haller and Alexander Stolar just joined us. They're not new to Remax, but they're new to the select group. And together they have 25 plus years experience. And we also now have expanded coverage into Staten Island with Alexander, who is doing Staten Island and west coast of Florida. And David, you do both coasts, right?
Yes, so we have homes in Boca Raton and here in Sarasota County, a couple homes. Is it time to introduce myself?
Yeah, let's introduce
All right,
yourself.
so I've been in real estate since 2005, 2006. My background is representing luxury developers in South Florida and Dominican Republic. Over the years, I represented very incredibly successful developers. We did design 1000 Museum, Porsche Design Tower, Residences by Armani Casa, just to name a few. We were very involved with Brickell Growing and Midtown Miami. We sold Midtown 2 for Midblock, a lot of different projects, Hyde. And then I opened up a brokerage in Dominican Republic where we build and sell there. And a few years ago, I expanded our Boca Raton business over to the West Coast. I saw a lot of opportunity here. And then Alex is a client of mine from New York. And then we built this amazing relationship. I'll let him introduce himself, but it's really, there's a lot of opportunity here on the West Coast of Florida. Sarasota is unbelievable. We're positioned just between Naples and Tampa to really service so much. And I can't tell you guys that there's so many of our clients are actual Northeast agents, and we're helping their families constantly to invest, to have second homes, Airbnbs. And there's just a great quality of life over here. Most Northeasterners come down to the East Coast. I'm originally from Miami Beach. And so I've always, spent my time Miami to Palm Beach. But as I've come over, to the West Coast, we have more Midwesterners, Canadians, and they see the value. We have great beaches. The weather's just a little bit different, but it's a great quality of life, and we're excited to host every single one of you guys down here. And we want to be, a family and support you guys however we can.
So David, would you say that there's a little, a lot, or a massive amount of additional new construction on the West Coast versus East?
We have the land, so there's massive. So just about 10 minutes from our new office, which is on Venice Island, just between Northport and Sarasota, in Sarasota County, we have a place called Welland Park. Welland Park is a place I toured with Fazia, Nancy, and Alex just a couple weeks ago, and you have about 10 developers there building over 80,000 homes the next couple of years. The amount of opportunity I have to help you guys sell your clients and you guys a second home, brand new, affordable, amazing opportunity with the downtown, incredible shops, restaurants, an 80-acre lake. The time is now, and we're here to help, and we're very excited. It's about, imagine going back into time to Boca del Rey on the East Coast 20 years ago. Well, this is what we have here in Welland Park, Lakewood Ranch, things like that here on the West Coast in Sarasota. So
welcome to the family, and we look forward to getting a lot of referrals. I was going
to say, send us your Jersey leads.
I was
Absolutely.
actually,
I can't wait to come up and meet you guys.
Awesome.
David and Alex, I was at a open house in Washington Township, $1.5 million property, and they were already under contract building something in Sarasota. So
There you go.
the opportunities are there, and we now have the direct connection instead of having to, go through Mac Center to find somebody. We have a really dynamite, experienced team that can service us. And not to take away from you, Heather, I just want to give Alex a moment to just introduce himself, and then we'll get back to Heather.
Of course.
Good morning, guys. I am extremely excited to join the Remax. Hey, Nancy, the Remax team. A little bit about me and my background. I've always been an entrepreneur. I had different types of businesses, but real estate was always my passion. So about 8 years ago, I have finally decided to go in it full time to become a real estate agent. I've been selling mostly New York City, Staten Island. I had a very successful team on Staten Island. We have sold over $26 million last year alone. And I had a passion for Florida and moving to Florida. I have 3 little kids, and coming to the West Coast over and over again, this was the place to move my family. So I have met David in Real Estate Masterminds. And when I said, hey, who do I know out in the West Coast, David and I connected right away. He helped me find my house. This was a year and a half ago. And we moved here and started a great friendship that went into a partnership. So we're very, very excited to, do a lot of business here on the West Coast. I also go back and forth up north to New York, to Staten Island to see family, friends, and also still do business. So we're excited to connect our New Jersey family, our New York, and now Florida West Coast business.
Oh, well, welcome. We now have, and you do Brooklyn, Staten Island, Manhattan. What areas do you cover there?
So Staten Island, Brooklyn, and Long Island is what I really specialize in. But I mean, pretty much all the boroughs of New York City.
Welcome to the family. We're excited to have extra coverage and to be working with the 2 of you as you grow your team.
Rob, I'm
Thank you,
gonna
and
put my phone number for everybody in the chat, so you guys can text me for my Blink card. I'd like to connect with each of you offline and get to know you guys a bit better, learn a little bit about where you're from and your business, and see how we can start doing business. A lot of our clients are from broker to broker referrals. I would say last year, 80% of my deals came from Remax and Sotheby's agents.
Wow.
That's a very different model than most of you are probably familiar with. But that's what I've been focusing on for a long time when I'm not focused on a project. So I'm sending it right now, and I look forward to meeting you guys.
fantastic. All right, so Heather.
Well, Rob, I was going to say that's great because with the low inventory, we never want to leave someone homeless. Now we just opened up New York, New Jersey, New York, Florida, somewhere else where once we sell their house, we could refer them to one of our partners. It opens up all the inventory.
I just want to quickly say, Rob, that a lot of agents I've spoken to in New York and New Jersey have not included in their conversation with their clients that they've had for a long time about Florida. Now I ask everybody to include Florida in the conversation.
I do.
Awesome. But a lot of people don't. And I talk to agents from New Jersey, New York all the time that say, I wish I would have gotten a referral fee. And I said, it's not just the referral fee. You're continuing to advise that Northeasterner, down here. And when you say you have a partner in business in Southwest Florida, not only in the East Coast, but the West Coast, and there's all different price points, all different type of products. Now you have so much more value to add to your existing client and a referral fee to make at the end. So be proud to know that you have partners on the West Coast of Florida.
We always say that Florida is the 6th borough of New York City because it's just an extension. Everybody travels here, everybody lives here, everybody has family and friends here. So especially for like New Yorkers and now an extension to New Jersey, Florida is just in your backyard.
So David and Alex, one of the things that we have when we go on listings is not whether the property will sell, but where am I going to go? And I think this is another solution to, hey, here's another alternative. Somebody can help you figure out what your next chapter is so that you can sell your place here in New Jersey. So, Heather, we now got to get through a lot in a little bit less time, but
Yes, I'm ready to hurricane through it. Let's go.
you door knock in advance of your open houses.
Yes,
So you
Door
door knock
hanger.
and you put out hangers. And how effective is that?
very. They know a lot of more times than not, they know they've already seen my sign. So they're like almost expecting me. Very, very, very good practice.
And we
I
talked
want
about
my next listing to be right on that block,
right. And how often, like how much time do you spend door knocking before the open house, just to give context?
I mean, I try to get there an hour before.
Okay. When do you put the signs out?
When I get there, put the signs up and then start door knocking.
Because I know some of our colleagues will actually go out there real early and put them out.
I know, we talked about that yesterday. I probably need more signs. Also, like I said, I was doing the balloons, the Mylar red and blue balloons is an additional thing I've been doing. I only have a few signs because a lot were stolen. So now I need new ones. I have new signs. I know it's want to get new ones. Also, something when I'm at my open house, I have my material. I have a ton of my own material and articles that were written about me. Like I have like press packets on me. Again, so a lot of times they'll come to this open house. Maybe they don't have an agent, maybe wishy-washy about their agent they're not married to yet. And this helps them get married to me when they meet me.
Now, is there anyone that, what is your registration or sign-in process?
Like I said, the minute that I listen, I run up to, like, that's my whole thing, very warm and welcoming. The first they say to them, do you have an agent? And then I have them sign in. But like I said to you yesterday, I have conversations with these people. These people are gold. Conversations are gold. A lot of times people will just talk to them and show them around, got their name, and that's it. That is not enough. I sit there and I talk to each one of them. That's how I found, like I said, the one that's closing this week, I found out that she had a home she couldn't sell with another agent within a few minutes of chatting with her. These are conversations someone else may not have, because they're like, oh, they're so focused on let me just show them around. But the truth is each one of these leads are gold and conversations to me are gold. And that's how you find out what is really going on here. And that this can be a listing, a buy, a rent. There are so many things that this person that just walked in your door could be your very next sale.
And
that's how we have to look at it.
And I think part of the, even the registration process and the whole greeting is being authentic.
Yes, that's why I was saying to you, for me, I don't close that's great. And I love learning from others. Me personally, I'm a door open kind of gal. I run up to them. That's part of being the hurricane, very warm and welcoming. And that's just what works for me. But I love hearing what other people do as well.
And do you have your typical open house? Do you have a lender or another agent that is there with you? And is that for managing the crowd or managing the crowd and safety?
Right. So, I mean, like, for example, that door hanger I just showed you as a share. Another thing I do is co-branding, which really helps with my marketing budgets and helping me build my brand. So, for example, that guy will come with me, to the open house. So now that we door knocked with both of our names and now we're both there, and it does help. Believe me, it does help in managing everyone, but I still need to talk to every single person, of course. Another agent I would usually have if I'm not there, which more times than not I'm there. I have had other agents come too, just to see what I do. And like I told you, Kim was like, I saw the hurricane in action, how I speak to every person. So for training purposes sometimes, and to help me out, I have that as well.
Fantastic.
But also having a referral partner with you. Like I had an inspector come. I've had, I'm president of 2 networking groups. So having sometimes your other types of partners there just shows how valuable you are too. It's like I've had a title person there, an inspector. It just shows the Heather Hurricane team. I got a guy for I can meet all your needs. That shows our worth too. So
how do you register guests, electronically or paper sign-in?
We talked about that. I'm the good old fashioned paper, and I'm like loving the electronic way. I just haven't converted yet. And I'm all about electronics. Like this is my big giant phone. I haven't switched over yet. I'm going to do it. Like I said, right now, what I do is I make sure, like I'll say to the person, wait, is that a 9? I'll make sure I have that number correct. It helps me to engage with them. And we talked about this, how I call that day, but well, I guess you're waiting for me to talk about that. But the good old fashioned paper way, but I'm thinking about converting.
So other than having a CIS form present, which is required in New Jersey, what else do you have? Do you have a table set up? Do you describe what it looks like when you come in?
I have pictures, actually. I'll send it to you afterwards. Maybe you could send to the group. I wish I pulled them up. But like I said, it's really, I've had my logo, my posters. I don't have them right now. I gave them away to my daughter's friends. They all wanted them in their room, but with my logo. But like I said, all of my material, Heather the Hurricane, that's branded with my partners, Selling Your Home, articles, folders of my past experience, articles written about me. Also, of course, the stuff about the home. That's why we're here. But like I said, so that they could learn.
Okay, so we have somebody that put in the text that they use a QR code to sign in. And I don't know if your internet there is a little bit unstable.
Hi, Rob. It's Nicole with Remax Select in Tinton Falls. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you, Nicole?
I'm good. I'm good. Yes, I use a QR code. So what I do is I make a Google form. Very simple, basically, and you can add pictures of it. So when they scan the QR code, it comes up like with a picture of the house and then their first and last name, their email, their phone number, and then you can put in there, are you working with an agent? You know, you can make the form however you want. And then the way I get the QR code is I copy that link to Canva and I make the QR code and I have like a flyer and I put it in a plastic, like 8x11 frame so they could just scan the QR code. It seems simpler to me than using an app for a sign in. I mean, everyone's different, but you can actually then get the spreadsheet of everyone who's signed in. So it's pretty simple to have.
So, and what do you do, Nicole, with the data that you collect after the open house?
I would follow up with everyone actually who came in, even if they said they are working with an agent, and then I follow up with calls or emails.
So if somebody says that they're working with an agent, do you capture what agent they're working with, or you just...
Yes, I try to capture their name and also their agent's name. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, as a buyer agent, when my buyers go to open houses without me, I'm always like, put my name down, so it just depends on the person.
And if they put down that they're working with the agent, do you let that agent know that, Mark and Stacy were at your open house, or do you call Mark and Stacy? Like, how do you handle that?
If I have the agent's information, I would contact the agent, but I usually contact the client even if they say they do or do not have an agent, just as a courtesy follow-up. But if they have the agent and I have the information, I would, if they're interested, of course.
Fantastic.
Rob, remember I said to you yesterday, I call every agent if they're interested or not, because that agent could say to that person, to their client, that house, maybe you'll put it in their mind. We're all here to get, maybe if they say to them, oh, well, that house was interested, maybe by their agent also calling them, so
right,
I think it's a point.
I agree. It's like a courtesy,
Yes,
we're all,
and it also, right.
We all have the same goal,
Exactly.
It's not trying to take people's buyers, it's trying to get to the closing table.
And the other agent I called them immediately. I'm like, your buyers were just here. They were lovely. And they love that, so now that agent wants to work with me too. They want to make them maybe put an offer on the house.
It's all psychological.
Absolutely. I was telling Rob that yesterday. Another thing that Rob and I talked about is I call them like immediately, like that night. I have conversations with these people that night. So I'm like, remember you met me, Heather the Hurricane, and we are already building a rapport. You don't want to let it sit.
Agree.
That's a good point. Sometimes our industry feels a little hesitant to be overly aggressive, but I think, that mindset,
right.
I think that mindset puts us in a defensive passive role, because if you call them 2 days later, they probably don't even remember.
Yeah.
And when I was working with some newer agents doing, helping them with their open house, and this is going back maybe a year or two ago, and we called everybody, people were like, wow, I signed into 11 open houses, in the past 2 weeks, and you're the only person that called me. And to me, that made a real statement, right? And it's almost like the statement. I don't know if we have, is Zach Durso on today or, because I saw Zach at Saturday at our pre grand opening, and he's gotten into the habit when he goes door knocking, if somebody's been there for a while, asking, you've been here for 20, 25, 30 years. How many people have door knocked? How many realtors have door knocked on your door? And it's almost always zero. And when you're calling people back, when they give you their phone number and they say, wow, you're the only person that called me back, that makes a statement in a positive way. You do not want in this market an agent that is not aggressive to help you secure a house.
That's
Okay.
true. I have two
So-
things to say. We talked about that yesterday, Rob. Number one, about calling them back right away. That's so important. The other thing was, remember we talked about how I door knocked one morning at 9 a.m. and then I was like, what are you doing here? It was a bunch of us, won him over, figured.
Heather, you froze again. I'm sorry. So until we get her back, another, are you coming back? Nope. Colleen, are you on?
Yes, I am.
So in New Jersey, we're required to offer a consumer information statement, which identifies how we can work with a client and who we represent. When you're doing an open house in Florida, do you have any requirement at the onset of meeting a guest at an open house to give them anything explaining the potential relationship like we do in New Jersey?
No, we used to be required to do that, but it's not required now.
Okay, very good. Seller's disclosure, additional information about the property. I know in the dinosaur age, we used to all bring hard copies. I think probably a best practice would be to email and or text information to clients. It validates the number or the information they're giving you, and it's a heck of a lot more efficient. Information about the community. I remember before houses were selling themselves, I saw the better agents bringing a whole table full of, hey, here's stuff about the school district, the local community, things of that nature. Does anybody, bring community data when you host your open house?
So I like to be able to offer that on a one-on-one, to sit down with a couple on the couch, take them out of that mode of that they just met me or Alex or somebody on the team, and try to make them feel like we've known each other forever, and talk about it with passion, talk about it with my personal relationship with the principal or with, the sheriff or whoever is involved in with what questions they might have, how I love the manager of that favorite restaurant. It's only 5 minutes away. They're going to love it as well and really connect it. If they just get an email with things that they may know, the things to know, we have that on the attachments on MLS, and we can send that to them if they need. But to really talk about it one-on-one and go that extra mile, it goes a long way. And the couple, they talk about it, and then it comes back for good. One of the things I was going to say in regards to following up with people that come through the door, especially without an agent that they are working with, one of my lenders, who's very, very passionate and does a lot of TikTok and a lot of things to connect with people differently than most, he follows up directly with them and says he's part of the Haller Group team. You've connected with David or Alex, but I'm part of the team, and he gets them the numbers, and he'll stay on them and he'll refresh them. And this has nothing to do with me communicating with them. This is just added value. And they feel like, oh my God, no agent's ever done that, where there's a lender coming into the picture and getting me prepped, because most of them are, especially the ones that, whether they're financing or not, they are all of a sudden looking at options and thinking, maybe I should leverage, maybe I should work with this guy. This is our lender, he's okay, but this guy is fantastic. I'm glad David and Alex have him. So it shows that value from the start.
And Heather, how do you handle like the information around, like that's not directly about the house?
Well, a combination. I'll have stuff there, but also individually answer their questions. And I like what David said too. That's really great, you know, to get them individually talking about it too. But I was going to say also with the pre-approvals, I asked them right there. I've been with people, they're like, wow, you ask a lot of, I ask a lot of questions. I'm not scared to ask questions when I first meet someone. And I think it's okay if you do it right. I pretty much qualify them on the spot, but in a nice way where they want to give me information. You know what I mean?
It's all about how you build that rapport and all how you ask and speak with confidence and
Of course.
that. And
Like I said, it took me 2 minutes to find out they have a house to sell. Like if you say it to the right, they'll let them talk, let them tell you everything. Something interesting Rob said last night too was like, I'll say to them, oh, you're going to another open house, sign in my name and number, the ones that I just connected with, so that I'm like, I could put that offer in for you. Rob said about providing a list of the open houses in the area too. So I think that's kind of a cool idea.
Oh yeah, so that's, I mean, with Zillow, I mean, people have a lot of technology, but I think sometimes, you know, offering something saying, hey, you know, if this one's not right for you, or maybe to better assess what's right for you, you know, here are 5 or 6 other, you know, homes in the neighborhood or in the, you know,
print up that morning with our logo. That's a
right,
great
the county
idea.
that you might want to consider, right? And there's one of our agents at least that will say, hey, if you go to any of these, please, you know, let them know you're working with me and here's my card, which to me is a very bold way of going about it, but I think it's brilliant.
I love it. We could brand the sheet. What you said, I'm going to put the hurricane. I'm going to do that in my next one. But I got cut off before. My Zoom is acting crazy. What I was saying about the following up when we did that door knocking, and that guy seemed like, what are you doing here? Followed up a few hours later. I got the lead. He loved that I called him later that day because he had mentioned something that I followed up on, and we got that listing.
Was that the one that I was at with you?
Yeah.
I think we
still got
started
it, even though you were kidding.
I think we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you know the
On a Sunday. He's like, what are you doing here? And
yeah,
we ended up with the listing.
He was a little bit unfriendly at the onset, and about 7 minutes later, you know, this young lady had a listing appointment to list. Was his dad or his father-in-law's property?
It was an aunt that left it to him.
So it was an estate property that, you know, he had a need, and, you know, he really was one of the lesser friendly engagements that we had that
he loved us in the end. Somebody just said about, could we offend the seller? I saw something pop up, Rob. It looked like someone had a question in the chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hi, this is Stacy. I was just curious. I did an open house yesterday. I know the sellers were like watching me all day on camera,
God.
but if they happen to see me, you know, oh, there's all these other open houses in the neighborhood too, or maybe you could get this home. Like if I'm trying to almost sell other people's houses at their open house, you know, could that possibly be an issue?
It shows that you know the comparables. It shows that you're working with other agents to get things done. You also show that you have buyers for other listings, not just their listing. Yeah, your focus is to sell that home, but to work closely with the agents in the community. And no, I go to, if I have Alex and I at both an open house, like I'm signing a listing today in a country club, I'm going to be taking the clients, you know, to see how much better the listing we have and paint the picture of why to buy our unit in this club versus this other condo with the veranda being smaller, and you know, show them on the golf course what this place has. But when they see it through with us selling it, they're not going that way. They're going to see all the benefits of our listing. I think it's very important to point that out. I don't think there's anything wrong in every community I've sold in. I've always talked about the other listings and up our product that we have to sell.
And Stacy, one of the things, and I'll come back. One of the things that I would also say, if you're, you know, sharing that information at a open house, is, you know, tell your seller that, you know, you want to be able to get feedback from them on the other properties so that you can emphasize how your property competes, right? In other words, they're most likely going to go there anyway. if you give them the information, you can follow up and say, hey, how many of those did you visit? What did you like? What didn't you like? And then you can emphasize the product that you're selling. So that's
You
just
have to
another
be a
strategy.
local expert in your the area that you are farming and also doing an open house, because I also like to do either before or after, inviting all the neighbors and all their friends. Hey, maybe you're not looking to sell or buy, but maybe you have somebody that is looking. Then I like to call all the open houses in the immediate area. Like in Staten Island, it's a little bit smaller. Here in Florida, yesterday I was driving an hour and 20 each directions for an appointment, but we got the listing and we're happy. So the area that we cover here in Florida is much, much larger. In Jersey, you guys also have much larger area. But again, going back to Staten Island, because it was a smaller area, I was able to connect with a lot of realtors. I know we're competing. Yes, we have a similar listing, but maybe we can send each other, suggest that if a client doesn't like your house, instead of losing them completely, maybe refer them to me and you can still get compensated by a commission. Let's work together then instead of working against each other. This shows your homeowner that you're trying to get clients from the outside coming in, and you're going to have more people at your open house if you're working with a lot of more agents in your area. First, always start with a RE/MAX Select, then go to RE/MAX, and then go to other brokerages, but always be the neighborhood friend and that friendly face that if you're doing open houses constantly, which you should be doing at least 3 out of 4 open houses a month if you're working with buyers, because that friendly face has to be always in front of the public. People that are looking for homes that are serious will most likely be coming to the same open houses in a certain area, and they'll recognize your face, maybe not the first time, but the second or the third time, and they would want to work with you on the second or the third time if you keep greeting them with a smile.
Thanks for sharing. I think before I get back to you, was there somebody else that was trying to say something before I kind of cut off? Okay, so what do you have to add to that?
Number one, talking about your seller that you're there to represent. Still, when I make my follow-up call, the first question is, are we putting an offer on this house? Regardless of that you talked about them going to other open houses, my follow-up is still always, you never know. They might want to, that's the reason we're there, right? So that's still always in the follow-up for me, A. And B, something interesting that he said, he's like, if you're especially work with buyers, I think a well-rounded agent is someone that works with buyers, sellers, renters, investors. So again, open houses, we should not look at it as only looking for buyers, but I've gotten so many listings from working open houses.
Fantastic. This is probably more of a Florida question, but how do you deal with gated communities and providing access?
So it's so important from the start. If you haven't worked with that community, to get in with the HOA, or to figure out how the gate is controlled. You know, if you can't put a for sale sign, a lot of our listings, we're not allowed to put a for sale sign in front. We can't put a balloon. We can't do the traditional things to market. We can do as many signs as we want on the streets. I remember you earlier saying about 4 to 6. Yeah, 20 signs is for me the goal every open house, because we're getting calls and people don't know what we're selling. And I guide them in, and I make sure to send somebody to the gate to welcome them there and to bring them into the home that we're selling.
So how many people do you need to man a gated community for the cover?
Well, I like to have somebody that's constantly coming and going from that gate. I make sure that guard, typically they're guarded. So that guard is got to be my buddy. You know, he or she has to feel like he's also helping to make a sale. I make them part of the team. I give them what I need to give them to make them feel good. And, you know, we bring them food, we bring them coffee, we make sure that they're feeling supported as well. And actually they seem to be happy to be a part of the process.
Fantastic. And thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Pizza party.
Here's a what I think is a great idea. I'm going to give credit to Glenn Baker and his team, but he'll make an appointment for 1 or 2 similar homes that aren't open that day for after the open house. So he'll close the open house down And if there's anyone that's interested, he'll have an appointment set for, 3:30 and 4 o'clock or 4:30 at two competing houses in case anybody that went there would like to go in and see those homes. He'll make those appointments, which I thought was, a pretty forward-thinking concept, thinking out of the box. So that's a Glenn Baker, thank you. What else, Heather, did you want to, I guess, share about the open houses? I know intuitively we think that we get buyers, but I heard you say, and you said it repeatedly when we did the pre-call for this session, that you get a lot of listings from these open houses.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you have to talk. They may have a again, it's all, we said this multiple times in this, it's about having conversations. The closing I have on Thursday is from the open house that I have, from an open house for a closing I have today, that I met the lady she's looking for a 2-family. She already owns a 2-family and she wanted out of her current house. I now have their current 2-family as a rental listing. We're closing on her house this week, and I'm looking to get her another 2-family as well, all from having conversations. I even got the closing I have today, the 2-family. I got that listing from being at, just a little bit off topic, but it was being at the closing of one of my buyers. We're at the closing table for their first time home buyers. And I said, well, where do you live now? Oh, we rent this place. Like, well, give me your landlord's number. I called the landlord right after the closing, and that guy became my client. I rented out his 2-family for years. And then I finally convinced, so I got all these transactions of rentals, finally convinced him to sell it, and we're closing today. Again, it's all about conversations at every stage of what we're doing. And networking. I run 2 networking groups I'm president of. It's all about networking, talking. This is gold. All of these conversations could be our next transaction.
Rob?
Go ahead,
Hi,
Colleen.
Colleen. I think that open houses are a phenomenal tool for getting listings. First of all, you show great visibility in the neighborhood. I've always felt this way, and I'm sure all of you guys know this. As soon as you see one home go on the market, you're going to see another, at least 2 in the same area go on the market. And a lot of times those people will come by to see your open house, to see what's going on, so that they have an idea of what they want to price their home at and so forth. So open houses are a great, great listing tool.
Very true.
Fantastic. Anybody else on the call have anything to contribute, or any ideas, anything that you do that's unique?
Rob, I have a question. With like 40 buyers hanging outside, how do we handle that efficiently, or more efficiently, giving the best customer service?
Anybody want to take a stab at that one?
Having a partner, having, like we were saying, a co-op partner, they're almost like the bouncer for me. It helps in keeping things flowing. You get a system in place. You get that guy, I'll make sure we get him signed in. You just keep it flowing, just having a system in place. You won't miss anyone if you have the right system. Make sure you just don't miss anyone, I think.
So when things were really busy,
and Rob, do you agree?
Here, we would bring somebody outside and give each person in line a bottle of water with our brand on it.
That's good. That's very good.
That bottle
I love that.
with our logo, it had our phone number. Some of these people would have our phone number before they had our card. They would also get a sheet on the home and the neighborhood before they entered. So by the time that they got to us, they were already mentally prepared and understood what they're walking into in a way.
That's
you
what I was.
Stimulate them, and also one of the things I think a lot of people don't think about on an open house is what can we do for the kids. So if there's anything that you can give a couple kids to keep busy. Some of these kids, it's the worst. Their worst nightmare is to go look at open houses. So if you can give the parents something to offer the kids while they're waiting in line, you're a hero right away.
I have these little branded, I have little branded hurricane bubbles. I got them from like Oriental Trading, and I put my logo on them. Sorry, go ahead. I just
No,
got
no,
excited.
that's
Can't
great.
remember.
Whatever works. You could buy something and just put a really nice sticker. You know, you can order stickers and put them on. We were big on stickers.
Yeah.
So just buy something that works for kids. It could be crayons and a pad of paper with your information, but you put a sticker and boom.
I
love
agree
it.
with that. I agree with that too with the kids. I have several buyers with children that we often are going to many homes, you know, shopping, looking, open houses, and I try to find out what the kids like. And I always bring the kid a little something, like a little drawing
That's
or a
great.
little car or something from the dollar store that I can connect with them, because it's hard for a 3-year-old to see 4 houses. But I
if you can
connected
connect-
very well with a lot of my clients like that. Even to gifts at closings with kids, because they're involved, you know, a little something to them. It's a big
Yep.
deal for them with the move. It's very important
Yes.
with the kids.
We have Legoland here in Florida. So I just started, part of the gifts at closing include in our baskets something for the child or the dog. And if it's a dog, you know, that I know that goes to the dog park, I'm going to give them stuff that they can enjoy there at the dog park. If the kids want to go to Legoland, they're going to Legoland. That
Exactly.
they're never going to forget. It's not a bottle of wine or champagne. That's expected. You know, we do things a little bit differently. So if you when you talk about closing gifts, if I give them something like a coffee machine, it has our information engraved on it. So it's something they're putting a pot in every single day. They might have a Keurig, but they might not have an espresso. So you can custom order them, and they think of you every day because they're making an espresso every day.
I've given tons of stuff with my logo, and pets too. So important. People love their pets. I've given branded stuff. It's all.
Hey, Rob, it's
Ross.
Maurice. One of the things I started doing for the open houses, it's called Pick Your Neighbor campaign. So it's like it's a door hanger that I have. I put it on 10 across the street and 5 on each side. I did it about 3 weeks ago for the first time, and I actually had 2 neighbors come to the open house. So it was pretty kind of cool. It's called like Pick Your Neighbor.
It works every time. I do the same thing, but just by door knocking, not leaving and then leaving something in the mailbox. At least 1 to 2 neighbors from either one of the sides always comes to that open house, whether they're nosy or they are looking for somebody that is in the market.
Exactly. But this one, like when I do it, I figured it's like inviting them. So I kind of want them to think that I'm doing a good job at the open house, so I could be your listing agent and do a good job at your open house. You know what I'm trying to say?
And you're immediately relevant, right?
Exactly.
Because you've done business, you have business going on in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Can anybody share leading up to the open house? What do you do Monday through Friday? And do you do any twilight open houses? So in the busy city, we did a lot of the twilight open houses on Thursdays, 4 to 7 p.m. And I was able to get a lot of clients come in because they're driving home after work. They don't have to take care of the kids. The kids are probably being watched by whoever, and they can just pop in and then come back maybe for another open house during the weekend if I'm hosting another one. But I'm just curious to hear anyone's stories. How do you lead up to the open house as far as marketing, calling, and what is being done?
I personally do a video for Facebook when I put all the pictures in black and behind me, and I just talk about the listing.
So Alex, in your markets, is door knocking like something that is a regular part of your business, or only like 10 across and 5 on each side? Like, what's the standard
So
there?
I want to say we specialize in door knocking. This is something that we've been doing with a team all along. Not many people do it on Staten Island particularly. So we take 3 block radius. So we make sure the entire 1 block from both sides gets covered, and the street right behind them and behind the other street. That's our targeted market. We make sure to do door knocking with the entire team. I make sure that everybody is there because it takes a village to sell certain listings, and it's very important for everybody to know about it.
Fantastic.
Talking about social media, Rob. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
We didn't talk about that. Yeah, it's a good one. What do you do there, Heather?
Well, I love that I said about the video. That's great. I do also do promo pieces, but besides putting it on my TikTok and Tip and my Insta, Home Snap, everything else, I'm a member of 50 to 70 Facebook groups. And I got a guy in Guatemala posting them. So let's say my open house in Hillsdale, I'm on Hillsdale Parents, I'm on Westwood Parents, I'm on all of them with my open house.
Hey, Rob, this is
So they're
Janet.
being blessed.
Go ahead.
Hey, Rob, this is Janet. I also wanted to share that I usually go into Coil Realty. I'm not very good at door knocking. I have to improve on that, but I am comfortable on the phone. So at least the day before, I call all the neighbors and I let them know that there'll be an open house the next day. And I actually invite them to come in an hour before so that they can, you know, without all the crowds, come in and take a look at the house and invite any friends or family that they know that may want to move into the area. And I've gotten a lot of neighbors that have actually taken me up on that, and I have followed them up afterwards. I am actually talking to someone right now who's been, you know, she came in because she actually wanted to take a look at the unit. It was a townhouse community, and she's looking to go a little bigger now. And so we've been in touch about listing her home and looking for something in a different area.
How do you get the numbers? What resource do you?
That was the
Through
same
Cole.
question I had.
Coil Realty. Coil Realty.
Okay.
All right, and then there was a question about how do you know where you're allowed to knock? You can call the municipality, and you know, you can ask the either the police department or the town administrator if there's anything required. Sometimes, you know, if you're a solicitor, you need to have it, but if you're just knocking and saying, hey, I just want to make you aware of an open house, like, you know, letting the neighbors know, there's a fine line there that, you know, needs to be addressed. Because, you know, if you're knocking, you know, the block behind, the block in front, and just want to let you know about this open house, you know, I've gotten away with saying that I'm not soliciting, I'm just letting people know about the open house in the neighborhood. And, you know, that's, you know, some risk that you need to balance, in my opinion.
So
Ask
New
for
York, New Jersey
forgiveness
family,
after.
be
Ask for
careful.
forgiveness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was saying you should go and ask for forgiveness after. You're like
No,
banned
my
from.
New York, New Jersey family, be careful because we still have restrictions from COVID that were put in place on us being realtors and soliciting, whether it's a phone call or a door knock or a mailer or anything else. I'm not sure if they were lifted yet, but I did get a formal complaint because somebody knew the law that they can put a formal complaint against us because we're soliciting during the COVID times. So has nothing to do with solicitation of real estate. It's the COVID of the New York, New Jersey that were put in place.
Rob, something else to say about open houses. Lisa, over here in Florida, has really captured her area. It is a gated community. But they do allow an open house sign. And when she does her open house, she does the Remax balloon, the big one. She does other balloons on the mailbox or out in front. And then we have these 2.5-foot signs that say open house. And she puts that across the front. In other words, she makes a big splash and then she does her door knocking.
I like that.
And it's created such a presence for her. So much excitement. Also, when you're doing an open house, you can always make arrangements to get a ice cream truck out there.
I've done that.
Yeah, you know, however you can make a huge splash to make it extremely visible is a really opportunity for you to show your presence in an area, especially if you want to capture a farm area.
Rob, remember that house in Oradell? I did the ice cream truck. So all those neighbors made me friends on Facebook after that because I fed their kids.
Yeah,
Hey,
very good.
guys, Rob, can I just ask, can you guys, I think someone had asked, and I'm interested in how we're handling the larger crowds now. So I don't think that we've addressed that. And I would like to hear, kind of best practices when we're seeing 40 people outside. I hear a lot of the engagement. I heard David saying, he sits down, Heather as well, having these conversations. But tell me, how are you doing that when you have 40 people? Just some of your best practices. I would, really welcome hearing that.
Rob, is Maria on the phone? Is she on the call?
I didn't see her. I didn't see her, no.
Okay, because she has her agents put a sign on the door explaining that she would do it so much better than me.
I understand what you're saying, Colleen. I've done it before, actually, definitely during COVID.
Oh, okay. So could you tell them?
Yeah, we're both in Maria's office. Nicole and I, Colleen. So, we've absolutely done that during COVID. I had a sign and I would have people wait outside and I will walk them in as groups. But now with most of those restrictions lifted, again, we're just seeing these volumes of, 40 people. And, I know my last open house, I had the lender with me and we just kind of divided and conquered.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, so the lender was having a conversation with the buyers as I was walking someone through the house. So, it was at least 2 groups that we're handling at once. But again, just open to hear, what everyone else is doing. I've used KB Core Open House to sign people in. When you have large groups, again, I had the lender. The benefits I like about KB Core is it's an app. You do have to give them, an iPad, but it goes right into KB Core, and then I can send a thank you note and follow them up. So it's not like double entry. Similar to Nicole, I've also created a QR code. So if it gets too busy, they can just scan it on their phone. I've been looking for a way just to get a confirmation. I think Glenn Baker may have said he has a way to set it up so that you get a confirmation that that person completed the form, and you can say thank you to them right on the spot, or say, hey, I didn't see it come through. Did you, are you having trouble completing it? But again,
Jen, I have a couple of comments, and you're tapping into my creative energy here. One thing that I would do is, what's good about having a line outside the house? It certainly puts in the mind that there's a lot of demand for the property, right?
Absolutely.
And what if you flip the traditional mindset and you went out into the line and you started talking to the people while they're in line before they go in? Because once they go in, what do they want to do? Run through the house, right?
Yes.
And if they're not interested in the house, what's your chance of engaging with them? It's probably fairly low, right? But if you were like standing before they go in, talking to everybody in the line, and you had maybe a lender and an agent inside, if you were expecting 40 plus, I think that would be a creative way to add value to the process and also build a more valuable list and an asset from that time that you're spending there. What are your thoughts on that?
Agreed. I think it's a great idea. I mean, we have information that we could provide, so at least while they're waiting, we could give them, the skills that we have inside. We can have somebody with an iPad having them sign in for us. Yep, and engage. So, I've absolutely done some of that. And, again, just wanting to hear, because this is definitely becoming more the norm again. I used to go to open houses on my own, but now I'm definitely making sure I bring a partner. And I really, I just did it once with a lender, but that worked really well. I think David said as well. It also shows that we have the partnerships out there. A lot of people are coming in, and this is we want to understand if they're pre-qualified or not. And it's more of a partnership. So they have a conversation with the lender. They can get, submit some information there and start to get pre-qualified if they're not, or meet someone else that might give them some information about some other products that might be available to them.
I said I have inspectors come, title people. It makes us more, makes us them realize how important we are, our value, brings our value.
Yeah, and it's
So-
another opportunity to meet. So we're not just talking about it, we're being about it because they see our team present and they're there on the floor able to respond to questions.
Of course. Sorry, David.
You never know how one of the people that you represent or that represent you, how they're going to make you look and shine. And
Mhm.
when a lender or a inspector can talk about you and what you do and how you do it for other clients, it can make you stand out in that client's eyes and make them instantly feel like they want to work with you.
Yep.
And almost feel like when you get to call them later, or if you are able to come and sit with them before they leave, you're like giving them the opportunity to spend time with you. And it's like created this value that they're like, oh my gosh, you know, it's from a different, instead of you're going after people, it's making them want to, you know, it's like the same thing in a conversation when somebody says, can I have your card? When most people are pushing to give a card, it's creating enough value and it's doing it for them to ask you for their card or for your card, but other people helping you to do that. So you're busy doing other things and seeing other people. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I get to be a part of working with the Hurricane group or the Howler group or the Lisette team, whatever it may be. Powerful.
There's
love
one other
that.
thing there's one thing I wanted to say that I talked to Rob about is I also do videos of the neighborhood lately. So lately I had a lot of listings in Teaneck, the Teaneck tornado. I videoed in front of this beautiful restaurant. It looks like palm trees. I said, I feel like I'm in Miami. I'm right here in Bergen County, New Jersey, in Teaneck. I filmed in front of a tree in Carlstadt for another listing. It looks like a cherry blossom from DC. I'm like, I feel like I'm in DC. I'm right here in beautiful Bergen County. So again, and another, I have a Hillsdale listing. I went downtown and filmed in front of this old time GameStop, an old time gaming store that you don't see these kinds of places. So I was like, look at this beautiful downtown. It has a feel of it. Like, so not just the home we're selling, but to also let people know about the downtown. And I post that again all over all these different Facebook pages and groups. And
All right, so your Heather's freezing up again. So I want to, you know, Heather, when you come back, if you could just share with everybody what area you cover in case they have some referrals. David and Alex, you know, we know West Coast to Florida, we got you, and New York coverage is something to keep in mind. Heather, if you come back, if you want to share what your coverage area is before we wrap up. If not, I'll just say that, you know, Heather specializes in, you know, the Oradell market in Bergen County, and she probably covers the Tri-County area, you know, Passaic, Essex, Bergen County. If you have any referrals for Heather or any questions for our panelists, please feel free to reach out to them. And if you don't know how to get in touch with them, just send me a text message. I'll make the connection.
I'd like to just say that if anybody is planning to come down to Southwest Florida or would like to come down, I own an Airbnb and I host clients and agents often. So I can give them a little idea of what is happening here and show them our market and let them get to know Alex and I. So you guys, if we can put it on the calendar, if you're planning to come down, you know, a spouse or children, 5 minutes away from my home, it's open, because I feel with this family, we really are family. And I want to, again, take a second to thank Fazia, Rob, Nancy, Colleen for the warm welcome. Alex and I are beyond grateful for this opportunity to expand the RE/MAX Select footprint to the west coast of Florida. And we're here for you guys. Janet, thanks so much for reaching out already. And I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you.
All right, David, Alex, welcome. We look forward to a long, prosperous sharing relationship. And Heather, I'm sorry you got cut off.
I know.
Early, but...
What's wrong with my
So why don't you just share
computer
real quick? Why don't you share real quick what your coverage area is, and then wrap it up for anybody that
Bergen County, but I'm happy to go to Union, Morris, Hudson, Passaic County, all of them. Send them. I have another referral that was from we did a door knocking segment. They sent me a referral for a co-op that I got them pre-approved. We ended up with the condo. We closed last week. They were so happy. This was just something that someone else may have not have taken seriously. It was just a co-op lead, but I took it very seriously. And I put these people in a condo from the minute the call was maybe 2 months ago. We just closed last week. So send me your referrals. They will get done and they'll be happy.
Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for sharing, everybody that made a
Thank you, Rob.
contribution. I really appreciate it.
You're the best. We love you.
All right. Bye,
Have a good day,
everybody.
guys.
I
Thanks,
love you
Rob.
guys too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.